consequences in my life. Right? No such thing. And then it all blows up in your face. Aaron Hernandez, this dude went to the extreme. He murdered. And, you know, I watched him, you know, you don't get to see the whole trial or anything, but they show you him standing there or him sitting there. And, you know, he's got such an arrogant look on his face, like he don't give a crap. You know, he's going to be a tattooed convict until he dies. Nothing wrong with tattoos. I'm just painting a picture. You know, he's probably going to have a couple stab wounds. I don't know that you can do life without parole and not get stabbed at some point. Somebody's going to stab you. You know, I was thinking, that money, wealth, and privilege affects decisions. It does. It affects your decisions. Some people handle it just fine. You know, they stay grounded and they have people in their lives that remind them that they're really just people, like everybody else. They just get paid more. And they have a pretty cool job, you know, being a movie star, being a singer, being a rapper. Two different things. Singer is a singer, rapper's a rapper. Being a reality star, I don't even get that. How did that happen? How did reality show these people become stars? Because this country loves to see messed up people. And that's who does these reality stars. These people, these fallen people, a lot of them, are the ones doing these reality shows because they got nothing else, man. They ain't getting paid. They got no residuals coming in. Or if they do, that's just supporting their drug habit. And again, I'm just painting a picture. It's not everyone. Never is. You know, prime example of somebody from wealth and privilege just losing their freaking mind and thinking OJ. And he actually got away with it. So how narcissistic is this guy? You know, he was already narcissistic before he committed the murder. And then he forgets about consequences and thinks he can do anything he wants to do, including killing 2 people. So that's what he did. And it was so obvious to everybody that he was guilty, but, you know, for whatever reason, he got away with it. And so all that did was bolster his narcissism and turn him into just, I don't know what it turned him into. An alien. Not of this world. And so he continued business as usual. I think he figured probably shouldn't kill anybody again. I probably won't get away with it a second time, but I can do anything else. So he did. actually kidnapped because, and that's what I think he was convicted of, that because, you know, he broke into this guy's motel room and would not let him leave. That constitutes kidnapping. And had a weapon, demanding. He said the guy stole his memorabilia. He may have. Even if he did, that's not how you handle it. That's not how you're allowed to handle it. You sue him. You go to court. You handle it in a dignified way. You don't break into his room, hold him hostage with a gun and 3 or 4 other giant guys with you demanding your stuff. So, you know, what goes around comes around. It might not come around the first time, but just like the earth orbits the sun, we orbit it over and over and over again. So what goes around comes around, and it continues. So if it didn't come around the first time, it didn't. It came around the second time, and now he's in jail for, I don't know how long, 12, 15, 18 years, something like that, 10, a lot of years. Still, you know, it's not justice for the families of the people that he murdered. But it is somewhat of some justice, you know. This man needs to be put away because his brain no longer functions properly, and that, I don't think, well, that's not a defense. That's not a defense for what, you know, for what he did. You know, there's other people that and see, this country, the media, television and all that perpetuates this kind of behavior. Because a good example, Greg Hardy, linebacker for the Panthers, was a domestic abuser, convicted domestic abuse. So the Panthers did the right thing. Hey, we're not going to tolerate that. Domestic abuse is, you know, has to stop. So you were convicted, so you're cut, you're fired. Get out of here. Only to be picked up by the Dallas Cowboys. They should be so proud of themselves. And then Jerry Jones had the nerve to have his daughter do an interview or a media release defending their choice. We should give him a second chance. Yeah, you know, man, please give him a second chance. Yeah, give him a second chance to go do something else. You know, when you get to that level, there's higher standards. It just is that way. When you reach a certain level, you have higher standards that you have to meet. And I think that's right. Because other people are looking to you for guidance. And a lot of them say, well, I don't want them to look to me. Well, you don't want them to, but they do. That's the reality. And so you do have that responsibility. And that needs to be taught to these athletes. And even, you know, young music people, like these young people on American Idol and on The Voice. I get a kick out of some of them. You know, they're walking around with one name. Oh, yeah, my name's Jax. That's it. Just call me Jax. You know, who are you? You're nobody. You're a contestant on a daggum music show. You haven't earned the right to be Cher. You know? Prince. They have one name because they've earned it. You have one name because there's something wrong with you. There's one on The Voice called Sonic. That's her name, Sonic. I'm like, what's her last name? Burger? Sonic Burger? That'd be cool. I love me a Sonic Burger. Makes me thirsty for one. Honey, if you're listening, can we have Sonic tonight? Let's see. So, anyway, Jerry Jones actually had his daughter do a PR about it. Pathetic, man. That is definitely a man please. That's shame on you, sir. How about Justin Bieber? The Biebs. This guy has no idea. And, you know, I wonder where his parents are. Why have... And I know it's not all on the parents. But... Hey, Bob. I see you. Where are their parents? To sort of help them understand that, look, you're going to have temptations out the yin-yang. But you have to be bigger and stronger than those temptations, because there's going to be a lot of young people that are going to be looking to you to mirror. They're going to want to mirror your behavior. So if you act like a person with self-respect and dignity, they're going to want to emulate that. But if you act like a dumbass, then, you know, they're gonna want to do that too. Well, Justin Bieber does. Look at, you know, that is so cool. That's the cool factor. And I remember the cool factor when I was younger. I do. Nobody told me that it was a path to problems. Being cool, taking that as being way more important than it needs to be. You know, Justin Bieber, this guy is surrounded by yes men, and he's young, and he's ruined. He thinks he can do anything he wants, and that's what he does. And then when he gets in trouble, he's like, I'm Justin Bieber. This is what I'm supposed to do. You know, if I do go to jail, I'm Justin Bieber. Everybody's going to love me. Yeah, everybody's going to love you, all right. I'm not a Justin Bieber fan at all. I think he's a disgrace to himself and to his profession. You know, I think Pharrell. No, it ain't Pharrell. Who is it? Whoever is his mentor needs to straighten him up. Chris Brown. This guy's a total loser. You know, he continues to beat up Rihanna. And she sings a song called Stay. So, you know, how are they gonna get better? Kanye, can't stand that dude. Lindsay Lohan. They're all crying out, saying, I can't handle this. I can't handle this. That's what this behavior is. Somebody get me on the right path. But there ain't nobody in their life.